Hi guys, this is Forgetful Scholar, and let's chat about books. So this week is Dirty Fighting and The King. So yes, this week is only two books because like I mentioned 2 weeks ago that last week I wasn't sure if I could actually upload any videos because it was my grandma's 90th and family was coming in, and with that and my real life job things, I just didn't have time. And this week I only got two books in. Sorry about that, but I had so much work to catch up on. And I think I could have rushed the third book, but then I don't think I would have enjoyed it. And at the end of the day, I'm reading these books to enjoy them. So I was like, okay, I'll just do two books this week. So uh, I did the fourth Hathaway book, which is Lisa Kleypas' Married by Morning, the fourth in the Hathaway series, and this has to do with the brother Leo and the companion slash tutor, Miss Catherine Marks, who's also last book's hero, Harry Rutledge's secret half sister. So this is Dirty Fighting, and it's 5 stars. So it's FM historical. And I really liked it. And so, I mean, people might be like, oh, we're giving all the Hathaway stars 5 stars, blah, blah, blah. I can, and I will. I do like them all. Yeah, so that's happening. I mean, I don't know about the fifth one, Beatrix. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it too, but we'll see. But so far, I really like this one. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Leo is hilarious. And I don't, maybe it's me, like sometimes with historicals, you don't get a huge variety of personalities with the hero. And I really enjoyed how, even in his own POV, Leo is just sarcastic, which I love, and just sort of, doesn't really take much seriously, even in his own personal thoughts. And, like, I think Lisa Kleypas did a great job of keeping that personality consistent, because I can't think that that's easy to write. Um, and you see how he reacts to things, and it's interesting because he is a recovering drug addict. Like, he's a recovering addict, and there's certain situations where he refuses medicine when he's hurt. And I think Lisa Kleypas did a great job of having him, confide in Mark's why. So I liked that Catherine and Leo kind of had their own little world going. Like, they confide in each other, their secrets and things like that. And Catherine, I was really hoping that she would make Catherine likable, because so far in the other books she wasn't too likable, and she did. She made Catherine really likable, and you get her childhood and why she is as defensive and as protective of herself and her secrets as she is, because yeah, that's really messed up. Like, if you haven't read the Hathaway series, definitely give them a try. And Catherine, yeah, it's really messed up. And I liked how much she cares for the sisters and all that. You know what I mean? And I liked, because in the second book with Win and Maripen, you saw shadows of the younger Leo, who had no problem jumping into a street fight that Maripen got involved in, because the local village kids were saying disparaging things about the Hathaways because they took Maripen in. So you see him, like, he's also covered in scrapes and bruises, because, like, so you see this. You see from, like, I liked how it's consistent. You see Leo slowly evolving over these books, because the first book, you didn't like him. You're not supposed to like him. He's in the throes of self-destruction, of grief, of drug and alcohol abuse. You're not supposed to like him. He doesn't even like himself. And you slowly start to really understand him over these books. And, like, he's just, I think Leo might be my favorite of the Hathaways. Like, I like them all so far. I really do. I think they're all very unique. All very unique personalities. They all have very unique quirks. And there's just a sense of a real family there. And I love, for Marks and Harry from the last book, how the Hathaways are just such an inclusive family, that they feel like part of it, you know? Especially Mark's when she was just sort of their employee, she still really cared about them. And I will say, I think Mark's personality, we only saw like the nastier sides in the other books until this one, just because every time we saw her, she was kind of um, up against Leo and his very sarcastic, irreverent, I don't give a shit kind of personality, and it just rubbed her the wrong way. I will say, like, I get why she like sniped at Leo right off the bat. But I think I don't know. It was just like very like I understood why, because her, especially at the end of the book, like her what she went through as a kid, so you get why. And before you get that, her half brother kind of explains to Poppy, but also technically to us, why Marx is always like sniping at Leo. Because really, when he first came back from France, she just took a shot at him right away. You know what I mean? So we get why, but I think you get why like at the end of the book, which I was kind of a little disappointed in. I would have liked to, at least in her POV, get her secrets a little earlier, or get why she was upset with him, because it did seem kind of like, oh, I can't stand, like from the outside point of view, oh, I can't stand him. And then pretty early in the book, she goes to his room at night and like some stuff happens. I'm not gonna like go into too much detail, but it seemed kind of a little quick turnaround for me a little bit. And she was like, that'll never happen again, la 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 la. Sure. Like, it's just a little quick. Like a little quick, but also I could see why the writer did it, because how else are you gonna see, as the writer point of view, that she's fighting off this attraction for Leo? So I understood why. I was just like, oh, it's a little quick for me, but I get it. This is after like Leo gets really injured and she like saved his life, and like all these kind of emotions going on. So I it's okay. I get it. It's not one of those things that are like, oh, too fast, too soon. No. It's just like, okay, given Mark's sort of standoffish personality, it was kind of surprising. Um, there is, how can I put this? There is someone from her past that shows up, and he's like a dick, of course. Um, I kind of wanted to see Leo beat the crap out of him. I was just like, oh, this guy's such a, Lisa Kleypas really does make the villains of the story so aggravating that you just really want them to like run over by a carriage or something. This book in my head is always going to be known as Dirty Fighting, because there's one point where Leo and Henry are going to save Max, because as a typical, seems to be a running fashion with the Hathaways, someone got snatched. She got snatched. So they're going to go save her. And Leo has to fight through a huge mountain of a boxer, like, not a boxer, like, bouncer, like a bouncer, like he's this huge dude that's there for security. Like, it's described as like a mountain of man. And Harry's kind of watching Leo fight, and he's like, because at one point, Harry and Leo get into it too, physically. And Leo said, like, you fence, you fight by rules. I don't fight by rules. And then, and then Harry's watching Leo fight this bouncer guy, and he's just like, I love how it's just like, it seems my brother-in-law really does fight dirty, because he's like kicking out knees, like he don't care, like even in his point of view during the fighting scene, he's like, oh, the bouncer's doing rules, screw that, pop, kick out knee. Like, I just was like, yeah, Leo, you go, because you do what you gotta do in a fight like that, you know what I mean? So that was just hysterical. I think I laughed the most in this one out of the Hathaways, just because Leo's sense of humor, like, hits it for me. You know, that I think that's just like the type of humor I really like. So I thought it was a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed it. And I'm continuing to really enjoy the Hathaways, which is so much fun. And our second and last book of this week is The King. That's how I remember it as. It is The Blood Witch by Holly Day. It is an contemporary paranormal. Now, I have been reading a bunch from this author lately because I just really enjoy her. Well, their how do I put it? It's fast-paced world building, but it doesn't feel rushed. They're very good at putting this world building in different parts of their POV that you don't feel like you're getting a monologue, but you still feel like you get the world they're talking about. And this is where soups or supernatural creatures live alongside humans, but they're very discriminated against. They can't own businesses. You know, most people don't employ them. And we're talking about vampire, werewolves. Um, well, I should say shifters because there are a lot of different animal shifters in this. So we'll go with animal shifters and witches. And blood witches are very rare because they're just super rare and super sought after. Because in this world, the cops, you know, take a sample of the blood and they're like, oh, you're a werewolf, you're going in the pit. Or you're a vampire, you know, you're coming with us. Things like this. And blood witches can change the blood to look like human. Once it's outside of the person's, like, either in, like, how they explained it, either in a vial or on the floor, Nick, who is a blood witch, can change it to make it look human. Now, the thing is, Nick is, I believe I said, like, I think technically he's, like, 30. I don't remember how old he is. I think he's, like, mid-30s, so I think, like, 36-ish, because he looks like he's 20. He keeps telling people wrong ages, because he's basically on the run. And Nick is a blood witch that's hiding out, and he had to live through some really horrible things for a really long time. Because, like, areas have kings or queens, you know, and they kind of rule the soups in that area. Um, and Nick's previous king, who's a vampire that he ran away from, Nick's a survivor. He's a survivor of some horrible things, okay? So he wants to live a quiet life. He doesn't want to bother anybody. He doesn't want anybody to know what he is. He barely leaves his house because he's afraid someone will figure out who he is and stuff like that. So he eventually, one day, he goes to get pizza because he just hasn't left his house in like a week or two and he wanted some fresh air. The nice woman that owns the pizza parlor got shot and she's freaking out because she is a werewolf and, you know, she's an outcast and she lied about being human to own the pizza parlor because she just wants to provide for her cubs and she's their only parent. So Nick, because yes, Nick is very defensive and very scared and, you know, he survived some horrible trauma and obviously, you know, still in processing and he has no mental health person that he's talking to, obviously. But he's deep down a good person. He feels bad, so he changes the blood on the floor to human and he leaves. And she's thankful, but she's also terrified, so she goes to the king, Connery? Yeah, Connery. Conri. I saw that as Connery. Sorry if that's not correct. You know me in names. Okay. Because she's really freaked out. And Connery, the king, is actually like a pretty decent guy. She's an outcast. And he helps her as much as he can. He can't exactly get involved in the pact dynamic unless he becomes part of the pact and he doesn't want that. We didn't really get into why not. I gave this like 5 stars because I did enjoy the pace of it. There really isn't a love scene, but I'll explain Anyway, I enjoyed the piece of it. So he's a pretty decent king. He seems to generally care about the people in his territory, and you know, a king. He feels like a king takes care of everybody in his territory, not just the packs, but the ones that are outcast as well. And his second in command is a vampire, which is really really weird, but that's his friend, and he trusts him. Like so, he's right off the bat, you can see he's a little different. But he is a wolf shifter, and he kind of has a temper and things like that. And the pizza parlor werewolf, you know, um, tells him what happened because she's scared, but she makes a promise not to hurt Nick, and he promises he won't. And a lot of stuff happens, and he, like, basically Nick, like, telling people to F off, F off. He's not going anywhere, he's not going to the king, whatever. But interesting enough, he didn't run away. And I liked how later the author talked about that in the story, like, how he knew he should have ran away, but, like, something was holding him back. It is a very interesting story. Again, like there's a mystery because someone is trying to usurp and take over Connery's territory and things like that. So I really like the politicalness of it. I liked how Nick, even though he survived a lot, he wasn't like the scared rabbit. Like he kind of schools the king a little bit on politics and how you kind of have to play it, and like this is a good idea, this is a good idea, this is a good idea, we should do this, this, and this. And I really liked how Connery treated him as an equal. I really really enjoyed that because sometimes with wolf shifters romances, yeah, there's like an alpha and an omega and I'm the alpha, and sometimes those are fun, but also sometimes they're like, okay, fuck off. That's not like a real relationship would not really survive on that for the most part. So come on. Again, no king shame, but I'm just saying, I liked how they were basically equals. And there is only one scene in the shower. Um, and I got that because he's a survivor of a lot of horrible things. So I got that Nick wouldn't just hop into bed with Connery, and I liked how in the epilogue it's kind of hinted that he got over his fear of sex, and they're together, but it didn't outright say it. So I did enjoy that, and how Connery kind of thinks like, oh, in the beginning he's like, oh, he's asexual. Oh well, you're still like my mate. Can I just hold you while I slept? So I think it was nice, and I think I enjoyed how the king kind of respected Nick's boundaries. And I liked how in the epilogue you kind of got the sense that they worked on it together, because this kind of hinted at that they're, um, are having sex and things like that. So I really enjoyed it. It is a happy ending. 5 stars. I enjoyed it. I really love when I find like a new independent kind of writer. I'm really enjoying it. Um, so I know it's kind of short today, but only 2 books, but yeah, life happens. So I don't want to, but it's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.